Mm-hmm. Recording.
Nice. All right. So to the panel, no rush. We're starting off with some small talk. Who inspired you most to be involved in sports or in what you do today in terms of working in the sports industry, being consultants? We know we have some big names here now, guys. Tisha Belfon is working with the West Indies Cricket Board. So, yeah, Tish, you can start off.
I think your mic is muted.
Good night, everybody. Again.
Good night. Good night.
I take honor in starting this thing off. Well, everybody knows me. For those who don't, my name is Tisha Belfon. I live in South Trinidad. I am a current footballer and I work at the West Indies Players Association, Correction Prudence.
Yeah, sorry.
I don't work with the cricket board. I work directly with the West Indies. Yes, it may sound a little bit off in terms of me being a footballer almost all my life, and now I'm in this career part of cricket. But sport is sport to me, and wherever the opportunity is, I will take it. What you asked?
Yeah, just saying good night, everybody.
Can I be done?
You asked what inspired me the most.
No. Who inspired you the most?
Who inspired me the most?
Yeah, to be in sport.
To be in sport. If that's the question, I can't really pick somebody for that inspiration because all my life I've been playing sport. Yeah, I grew up in sport before I took up the opportunity to play football. I used to run track before, so for the first 12 years of my life, that was me.
Yeah.
I was introduced to football when I started Holy Faith Convent, my secondary school, and from there I actually stopped track completely to take on football because I felt as though there was a greater connection with me and that sport as compared to the track. So from then to now, I've been playing football for more than 10 years. Well, that's it for now. Any questions I could feel free to ask.
We would go into your experiences playing football just now. Well,
Fine.
In particular, UE, your experience in UE.
Fine, no problem.
Anybody else? Chrystalann, I know your family is into sports, refereeing, coaching, you name it.
Yeah, I have a big football family, so yeah, that's where my introduction to football came from. But getting my foot wet in it, I had like a lot of internal drive to pursue football, and yeah, so you could basically just like to grow up around it, and that's how I was introduced to it.
Nice. Lem?
My name is Lemuel Lyons, for those who don't know me.
Biggest player?
I currently play beach football. I also did track when I was younger. Made the Trinidad Crifter team. U17 for grass football, U20. Played in Pro League. Just growing up, I was just involved in sport a lot. It drove me to getting everything I wanted to in life.
Okay. I know you work at, is it sports company?
Yes, I currently work at the sports company.
As a sports development officer?
I'm a high performance administrator.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Thank you. Birdie.
Right, so my name is Raheem Belgrave, nickname Birdie, as most people know me by. I currently am in London, so it's like 1:15 a.m. here. I play with Wembley FC. What's that? Yeah, so I play with Wembley FC. They play in the Spartans of Midlands. That's like the 7th division, 2 divisions under the conference. I work as a business consultant over here, but I'm looking into getting my coaching qualifications out here because I know the stigma that anything outside of Trinidad is better when it comes to qualifications and stuff. So I've already done some coaching qualifications in Trinidad. I have to thank Tisha for helping me out with that. But yeah, as soon as I get that done, one of my goals is to come back to Trinidad. Having coached some of the youth in Trinidad, one of the goals is to come back and continue helping them in whatever way I can, whether it be mentoring, coaching. Yeah.
All right, nice. Thank you. So we're moving on to experiences. Chrystalann, I can't remember the name of the university you went to, but you could start off. I'm not sure if you played for the university itself or if you just played club football.
Yeah, a lot of my footballing experience was at that university. So after graduating from UE, I got an academic scholarship to go study at the University of Nottingham in Nottingham, UK. And yeah, and that was basically the highlights of my football career, really. Played indoor football, played futsal for the school, grass football, and I also had the opportunity to do my FA refereeing license. Yeah, while I was there. So the big aspect of my football career happened in that 1 year. Yeah.
Nice. Lem?
I went to school in Trinidad or both?
Both.
All right, so I went to St. Benedict's College. After which I got a scholarship to Howard University. I studied sports management and had a minor in economics. I also played football for Howard. I played in Pro League for 2 seasons. Then in 2016, I went to Germany on a trial with VfR Mannheim. I got a contract, but the money wasn't sufficient for me to survive, and so I turned out the contract. In Germany, talk spreads really quickly, but Europe and another team, FSV Hollenbach, they saw me somewhere. I guess they saw me play a practice game, and they also showed interest. Again, money was the issue because, again, I went to school for 4 years. I have a bachelor's degree in sports, and it doesn't make sense for me to, sell myself short, I would say. If it was like a contract where I could just save a little money, I would have finished the contract, and maybe after like a season, I would have left to go to a bigger club and get a better contract. But I currently play beach football for Trinidad. That has been challenging in terms of support through the government and all the other NJBs. But through every story, there's a struggle. We're just hoping that it gets better, not only in football but in every sport.
All right, nice, thanks. Maybe you could answer the next question one time. So you were playing football for Howard University and studying as well. So what did a typical day look like for you in terms of managing the workload or the stress that came with both playing football and studying?
Well, Howard is predominantly one of the best academic HBCUs in the US. So my freshman year, in junior freshman year, you have a free slate in order to play. After your first year of playing, you have to keep a 2.0 GPA in order to play. That's just the rules of the NCAA. So after my first year, I did think about 14 to 18 credits. I was just did like 2 classes extra. In case I failed one, I'd still have enough credits in order to play for the next season.
Yeah.
So so I have preseason, which starts 2 weeks before school opens, which is sometimes I had 3 days, 4 days. So I get up 5 o'clock in the morning, practice at 6, then I have another session at 9.
Yeah.
Then
This was team training.
Yes, this is team training.
Okay.
Then I was another session like 1 o'clock. Then at 7 o'clock we have a night session. That's before school starts. So when school starts, we train in the morning, 7, and we train 7 at night. So after 7 o'clock practice in the morning, I go to my class throughout the day.
Yeah.
Usually my last class would finish around 4 or 5.
Yeah.
I'd go home, get some something to eat, and then I'd get some rest and get ready for practice. Practice usually from 7 to 9. After that, I have to go to study hall. Study hall is like an hour. So after a long day, tiring training session, I have to do study hall for an hour, which is very.
So study hall was mandatory, or it's just something you did?
They made it mandatory at some point because some of the guys were slacking off in the academics, so they made it mandatory.
Okay. All right, got it. Wow, nice. Thank you. Raheem, I don't know you are working and playing, so what is a typical day for you?
So playing at this level, we train twice a week. During the season, outside of the season, we train 4 times a week. So typical day depends on what stage of my personal fitness. So if I don't think I'm where I should be at, I'll have work for 8:30, so I'll get up maybe around 5:30, go for a half an hour run, come back, shower and everything. After that, go to work 8:30 to 5:30. Then I have training at 7, 7 to 9. But the team I play for is actually pretty far from where I live. It's about 1 hour and a half away. So sometimes I have some really late nights. So after sessions, depending on, because the last season they've kind of ushered me into like a goalkeeping coach role. Because they have a lot of young keepers that don't get any coaching otherwise, and they've seen my qualities. They know of my coaching badges and stuff, and they have ushered me into that role. So sometimes I get home about midnight and then wake up the next day for 5, if not 6:30, to start my day of work. Then games on a weekend. Games on a weekend is an all-day affair, especially if it's an away game, because I have to leave home maybe 10:30 in the morning, and you get home about 8 in the night. So it's an all-day affair when it comes to games and stuff. So yeah, that's a typical day in my life.
Okay, thank you. Tisha.
Yeah.
So I know we had training Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So you could answer this. What was a typical day for you, and how many hours did you spend doing schoolwork each week?
Well, I attended the University of USND St. Augustine campus. There I decided to join the football team. Honestly, it wasn't the best as compared, it's a trick for dance. As compared to the club football that I was playing currently, and the football that I experienced outside of club because of playing with club. I played with Chrystalann. I'm no longer with them. I'm currently with UTT. Training with UE was fun, but was also stressful because you had to push yourself. That's my personal opinion. You had to push yourself in order to make it.
Yep.
Because they didn't really take the sport all that serious, I find. And I'm speaking for all the disciplines. No matter what it may be, the Wii Games was fun, it was great, I got the opportunity to travel, yes. But
except
the way
volleyball.
yeah, the way they structured the sporting disciplines and the training sessions, it was poor to me and unacceptable. I personally I get my sanity from sport. So if I'm not playing, my academics usually drop. And to this day, if I'm not playing, my academics will drop. I don't know why. I try to fix it, but it seems as though when I'm active in sport, whatever it may be, my academics will increase and I will do well and there will be a balance. So playing for me was very important when it came to my degree. We had training, yes, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but apart from that, I would find ways to go and sweat on the field, on top field, anytime I could. After a training session, which would usually start at 6, we would finish around half 8, around there. I would still stay back and I would go and play football with those who were playing on the field until about 9, half 9. That for me was my extra and personal training for myself. Apart from that, what helped me in terms of the academics was the camaraderie of my friends and the persons who I lived with because I lived on hall. To anybody who would like to go to university, I would advise you do not stay off campus. Take that opportunity to experience living with a family, living on hall. Yes, friends, I know you live off campus, so this is me speaking. Take that opportunity. Everyone may not like it because some persons would prefer to be on their own. But and I was one of them. I'm still one of them. I love my personal space.
Yeah.
But being able to experience different personalities, that helps you to grow as a person and it helps you to understand
people
how the world is. And it helped me with my academics because going into UE, I didn't know what I was doing. I just went to UE because it was the thing to do. You know, you need to get education and to get a job. You can't get a job without your education. You can't get a job without experience. And without experience, you need an education. Always go back to education. So I said, yes, I'll go and get education so that I'll be able to get a job so I can support myself and my family. That's about it. Anything else I missed out, Prudence?
Just how many hours did per week studying?
How many hours
Per day.
per week studying? Me personally, I didn't study every week. I studied 2 months before exam started. So if the semester started in September and exams was in December, from probably like the beginning of November, then I would probably start to study. That's just how I was because in terms of retention and the academics, unless it was something that was hands-on for me, it would not be retained for a long period of time. So I had to find a way to first understand what was being taught to me and at the same time be able to explain to somebody what was being taught to me. So for somebody who was on an academic scholarship and studying from time they step into university straight down to exams, that wasn't me. I needed that break. So November was my time to actually sit down and do the work. And even when I was doing the work, which would most likely be in the night, I would still train. I wouldn't cut off training. So I would go to class. After class, I would go training. After training, I would study and then get up again and do it. Mind you, getting my sleep. Sleep is important.
Yes, you know.
Yeah, sleep is important. Yeah, getting my sleep and with that routine, I succeeded. It may not work for everybody, but it
You
worked
need
for
to know
me.
yourself.
Yeah. So it worked for me. I figured out what was good for me and what didn't work for me in the earlies, thankfully. Because some people, I met a lot of persons anyway as a first year, and I left a lot of persons in UE who were there when I was in my first year, which is very saddening, and they weren't doing their masters.
Yeah.
They were still there. So it's all what you could handle and how your personality fits into the wider prospects of UE or whatever you want to do in your life.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for your honesty.
Yeah.
Chrystalann.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
question is a typical day, right?
Yeah, your typical day and how many hours you did in schoolwork per day or per week?
Well, in UE, I was basically at the beginning of the term, I'll keep on top of my assignments and stuff. Make sure I do my tutorials, make sure my group projects was in order. And when exams neared, I didn't really have like a time limit on how much studying I would do, but I would study until I understand what I was reading. So if it took 5 hours in the day, 5 hours. If it took 2 hours for me to understand it, 2 hours. But the goal was never to meet like a time limit per se, but to just achieve that goal of understanding.
Raheem?
What my experiences in UE?
Yeah.
While I was in UE, I was also playing with Samoa Jablote. I was playing professionally at that point, and it was pretty challenging because you have so many factors to deal with, whether it's the traffic on a morning, because we trained at, it used to vary anywhere between 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Yeah, right there.
I did a job with as well.
Okay, fair enough. I played there. So I played in Jablote, I think 2 seasons, 2013, 20 to 2015, 16. I think I left in 2016. And going back to the point that Tisha was making about meeting people, she came in first year, met people in the university at first year, and she left them still in the university. I'll never forget in my second season in Jablote, I was getting paid because it's professional football, and a couple of the players were upset that I was getting paid while going university, because I can make all the training sessions, or I can train for the entire session because the coach allowed me to, okay, if you have a class at this time on this day, class is important. And it was at that point I realized how a lot of the team, and by extension, I think the Pro League, lacks certain understanding and certain education qualifications as well. I remember traveling with a player from one of the Pro League clubs. I won't name the player of the team, but in conversation with this player, he was young at that point. He was still in secondary school. In conversation with this player, he was like, asked him, okay, are you going into Form 6? Because I think he just completed Form 5. Are you going into Form 6? He's like, no, he can't. I was like, why? He has one pass. Is it maths or English at least? No. So it just goes to show, and he was an outstanding player, but your football will only get you so far. And it was really sad to see, and I think it was at that point I set out in my mind to I really want to help a lot of the younger players in the country, because talent can only get you so far. But as Tisha was saying, it's just the way society is. Education is the basis and foundation for everything. So it might be challenging, even if you're just doing classes, to play professionally, to play semi-professionally even, because I also played for Queen's Park Cricket Club football team. Rolls straight off the tongue. But yeah, I played for them as well while I was in university. Also captaining UE to the UE games as well. And that was also pretty challenging because I shifted from just being a player to being part of management almost, because it's not a massive team to say, okay, they have a coach, a manager, equipment manager, all these things. It's just the head coach, assistant coach, and the captain makes up the other member of staff. So all these things were learning experiences. I think it all comes down to your mentality, what you want to get out of it, the end goal. If you're just playing for playing, if you want to better yourself, play, and really develop, try to help others. But yeah, the challenge is definitely there when it comes to playing and being in university. Um, so yeah, just I would say it all comes on to the focus really.
Thanks. So this question is for anyone of you. What were some of your greatest struggles in university in terms of academics and then in terms of sports? And what were some of your most rewarding moments in both sports and academics? So I know the question kind of long. So what was your greatest struggle or struggles, and what was your most rewarding moments or moments?
Okay.
I'll go ahead. Just now. Yeah. I say what I guys, the household.
It's okay. It's okay.
All right, so I'll start with the struggles.
1 minute before we go on, you could just give some of us here a chance also train a few questions in between.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sure, no problem.
All right, nice.
Okay, is that?
Do you want to ask a question now, Didon, or?
No, well, I didn't show the question, so when I finish, probably I'll ask.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Okay. So struggles. Some of the moments that I struggle with. They said at university on sport.
Yeah, anyone or both.
Anyone. All right. So my main struggle was being able to make a choice between sport professionally and my education. That was one of my greatest struggles and one of the hardest choices I had to make. As I said previously, I started football at the age of 12. And with that, I probably trained with the national teams on 3 separate occasions, under 15, under 20, and the senior team. I'll go to the senior team, and I tried out for the senior team at a point in my life when sport wasn't really the most important thing. I was in university. I was in my final year, and I got picked to play with the senior team. And I was elated. I was so excited. I was like, yeah, hard work pays off, because you're working years and years, and you know how the struggle is in Trinidad and Tobago, and the favoritism, it's there, it's always there. You have to work. If you don't know nobody, you have to work. And I was picked, and I was excited. I was like, yeah. Training sessions. Out of the 4 training sessions with the senior team every week, I could have only made 1 due to classes. And I would always remember this day. Can't remember the coach's name, but she was the person.
Carolina?
Yes, Carolina. Right.
Carolina.
I went up to manage, which is Janelle. And I explained to Janelle, I said, Janelle, well, I'm in my final year of university. And I don't know what's the ins and outs with this football and education, but I would only be able to make 1 session per week due to classes because I would like to graduate in 2017. She was very welcoming and she said, yes, no problem, let's go talk to Caroline. Went and talked to Carolina. Carolina said, well, if she can't train, she can't come. Let her leave here? No.
Yeah.
Literally, I didn't even know she was so fluent in English in that aspect. And I wasn't disappointed at all. I was like, well, if that's how it has to be, then I would choose my education over football. There would be other opportunities because I'm young. And I need my education in order to support myself and support my family.
Yes. And now you have a stable job.
Now I have a stable job.
Yes.
Because of my education. And I haven't given up on football. I feel as though football, I will get the opportunity whenever times come. Yeah. And I have gotten opportunities with football. I was able to travel to Barbados, to the Barbados Cup under my club, Club Sando. I believe Kalachi was with me. I think so. Yeah, so we went to Barbados. We went to Barbados to compete in that cup. I was given the opportunity to be one of the first female players, or at least to play beach soccer. Prudence, you could attest to that.
Yeah.
Because of my education and my discipline towards my education, I was able to become a C-licensed football coach and attain certification under FIFA Women to become a football coach. So it all comes down to choices and making your struggles opportunities.
Yes.
One of my greatest rewards is being able to make it so far, as I am an introvert and I never really thought that I would have been able to be a leader. And Prudence, you know, you've played with me and you've seen the way how I move around persons when it comes to being on the field and when it comes to being off the field. I'm one clown. Everybody knows this, but when it comes to something that it is important and serious, I could be very demanding and very unwelcoming. And because of the way I carry about myself, I was given the opportunity to captain Club Sando's team, captain the UWE team. My fellow Skip, he was the captain of his male team. And also I was given the opportunity to give a few speeches with a lot of youths in various primary schools while I was doing my freelance coaching.
Okay.
For a year before I got my job. So one of my biggest accomplishments was becoming a respected leader in the sporting community. Yeah, I think I'll stop there.
Thanks, for sure. No rush. Lemuel and Chrystalann.
One of my struggles in university was playing and doing my academics. So I played in the MIA conference, but we had a lot of away games. So say for the week I'll go to Boston, then I'll go to Florida, then I'll go to Alabama. So I'm missing out on a lot of schoolwork. So what I did with my teammates, like we could set up our schedule for classes where we could share information if we missed.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so that's what we did to get through like the semester. It was extremely hard because sometimes you take the bus or you take a flight and you get back at 11 o'clock at night and you have an exam at 9 in the morning. So you're extremely tired. You can't really study after like a long flight or a game. That was really one of my biggest struggles. My last semester, I did 22 credits because I wanted to leave and graduate. And I had a job. So I was working with the Trinidad and Tobago Embassy in Washington, D.C., and I did 22 credits. So if the embassy called, I had to leave class and go to my job and come back to class. So that was extremely hard, my final year. greatest accomplishment through sports or academics? Well, graduating through academics from best HBCU in the US, which is ranked worldwide. And through sports, just representing my country whenever I get the opportunity to. Our last trip was to China. And I shared the captaincy with Jesse Bailey.
Okay.
And China was an experience that, it's an experience that always stay with me. We had very good experiences and we had terrible experiences. But it's still an experience, you know. Just representing my country is my biggest achievement.
What was bad about the trip to China though? The games that you lost or anything in particular?
Not the games that we lost, because we had a lot of youth and we wanted youth to experience.
Okay.
Because some of them came from the Commonwealth team.
Yeah.
We had Jabari, we had Juval, we had Omri. And the jump from the Commonwealth team to the senior team in beach football is totally different in terms of game speed and skills from the player. So some games, yes, we were upset because we lost, but that's a learning experience. That's part of it. And the food was extremely terrible. There's no privacy in China. Everywhere you go, like a camera in your face, like not like the way it's like directly in your face everywhere you go. But that was my bad experience in China.
Okay. Thank you. Raheem?
So
you can give from any perspective, going to work and playing for.
I'll keep it on football. So what's the biggest disappointment?
Struggle.
Struggle. In terms of struggle, I would say definitely playing professionally and in university as well, because having to worry about fines and all of that while also having to maintain your GPA. While also, because I used to train with the university team and also professional team at the same time. So doing all of that, trying to keep timely because timeliness is important. Trying to keep that timeliness and making sure everything goes in order, making sure your grades are up there. I would say that was my biggest struggle. It's between that and when I actually gave up on football at the age of 12 years old, because I thought I wasn't going to be good enough. But then I got an opportunity to go to Dallas, the Dallas Cup with Sky FC. And we lost every game, but I think I learned a lot from that experience and came back. So between when I gave up on football and playing professionally and in university, I think those would be some of my biggest struggles. Greatest accomplishments, I think definitely winning the league title with CIC. It was the first time they'd won it in 23 years or so. So being a part of history, also winning Player of the Year 3 years in a row for the school, making the All-Star team. I got my first national team call-up on the 17 level at that point as well. So all these things happening in that year, 2009 for me, definitely hands on the proudest moment of my career.
Chrystalann?
Yeah. Well, my biggest challenge academically was probably nothing. I'm trying to juggle all these experiences at the same time. I mean, I was doing my master's in economics. I was trying to get my FA certification and playing competitive football and futsal for the university. And at times it became really overwhelming to like juggle all those portfolios at the same time.
Yeah.
Plenty times I'll probably call home and be like, "Mommy, I don't think this working out. I think you should send a ticket. It's time for me to go home." But like I never made the decision and like the heat of the moment. I'll sleep on it and then get back up, go to training, go to classes, go do my course in the night. And just at the end of the day, getting it done. And I think the most rewarding moment for me academically was like coming out of the University of Nottingham with that referee certification, with a distinction in my course, and getting the Players Player award for my football team. Football, I also started national football at a pretty young age. Probably at about 12, I joined the under-17 team, and that is a interesting environment. It's highly competitive, takes a lot of hours of your day, and juggling that with secondary school was not easy for me. And football had always been a passion of mine, and I also had to go through the decision of choosing between.
She lagged. Yeah, I think she's
frozen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Didon, you have any questions?
Yes, a pleasant good night to everybody once again. Donny Stewart Senior.
Yeah.
My question to some of you, I've been listening to you speak and I've been hearing these same things over and over the years. Meaning people left here, went away, said they will come back and they never came back or look to put back within where they came from. Right? And I believe these things and these experiences that you all have, you're supposed to be coming back to the ground roots, primary school level. Let the child know from then. Hey, you have to start to know to structure yourself, structure your studies, structure your football, structure everything. You have to let them know these things so that they can get it from young. Let them hear it from people who have been exposed to it and who have done well and who have reached where they have aspired to reach due to the hard turmoils that they have went through. Right? And I most likely deal with the younger ones, like say under 15 come down. And these people, these children really need inspiration. I mean, as a coach could give as much, but hearing it coming back from someone who's done it professionally, these children eat up and gobble down everything you see. Everything you see. They sit down and watch your mouth go up, up, down, up, down. They watch your eyes blink. Every blink, they can say a blink 108 times. Because why? Yes, you have played professionally, you came back to them and you're speaking to them and they just been listening to you attentively. Right? It's nice to hear the kudos and everything that you all have done and the aspirations and things that you all have accomplished, but it only can be done if you come back and get back to Trinidad and Tobago. That's the level that we need to start from. For you all go out there and then you all stay out there. And sometimes some of you all don't even know how to talk Trinidadian again. The Trinidadian language gone because why you just stayed out there for so many years. When they come back, it's something like a total different person. Right? So we need to touch base, we need to touch ground roots. With, I believe from the primary school level, coming right up into secondary school level, we need to target these children and have them sitting down because it's a psychological aspect.
Yeah, that's part of one of the questions we'd reach to that.
Oh, then one of the questions, yes. Because I'm saying that psychological aspect is very important. Very, very important. And if we started from young with these children, their minds will change, their mode of aberrandum will change, going towards doing whatever they're doing. Maybe you see them getting up, putting a schedule to get up on mornings to do this, start instructing themselves in their training. If they're doing a little thing and even for an hour, they go, they do it for the hour, they come in, they pick up their book, they will start instructing themselves properly. But hearing it from us all the time, sometimes I just tell my children and the more I just be coaching, I say, if it was a white man standing up in front of you, you wouldn't even be giving, you could hear a pin drop because all the gobbling down everything the white man saying. But because they know we are from right here and right around them, they just want to do us whatever we please. They just still show respect, yes. But that is a difference when, if you understand the level and the
Well, I could say in terms of people's language changing. I mean, I had a short experience outside, and sometimes it's just difficult to speak our slang or typical language. So others, or for others to understand. So I can understand the aspect of someone's language changing. I don't think that's something you could really work on. But yeah, I agree with what you're saying. These things should, from the primary school level, should be known. And I guess it just depends on the athlete itself, because you could talk. I mean, a white person, as you say, could come and talk. And it all depends on how much of a sponge you are, like how much you are willing to take, which is why I wanted to have a call like this to, I don't know, remind the younger generation of the importance of education and planning and stuff like that. But yeah, I understand what you're saying though. So thank you.
No, no problem.
So just to piggyback off you, right? In terms of athletes coming back to help, right? If there's not a foundation where if an athlete comes back, he's going to struggle as opposed to he's going to stay where he is and flourish. He's not going to come back. In terms of giving back, right? You don't have to be here to give back. There's a lot of coaches in the US that they bring players from academies in Trinidad and play. I also coach in Elite Ballers Academy. That was the late Tiba McKnight's academy. And we sent 2 players to Costa Rica. The coaches, I think, in Trinidad, they are the first line of encounter for the kids. If the coach is not preaching the importance of academics, because that's the foundation, it's going to be difficult for someone else to come out and to tell them that afterwards. It's like breaking a bad habit. So again, that's, to me, the coaches at the primary school level go up. They have a very big role to play in development of football in Trinidad and Tobago. Not just football, but any other sport.
Totally agree.
Well, I can comment on that the academic side, because the girls in which I coach, right? I mostly deal with girls if you all don't know. I have a girls club as well, because I realize the girls football is dwindling, right? So we need to start to work with them to have them coming up in that stature. So the girls I have dealing with, and also have boys that I train in another club, I piggyback on an ex-partner with that. And I just inspire them. Sometimes when the girls come and I enter that schoolyard, that primary school, and as the term ends, you see they come with the report books. They come with the report books and they're showing, sir, I do good in this, I do good in that. I see they fall short in that area, and I say, hey, well, I know you had a book up in that area. All my girls who pass through my football club, I always encourage them. Academics must go along with your football. Right? Look, Scarborough Secondary School. They feed off on me. My girls said they wanted a Scarborough Sec school, so all of them put on Scarborough Sec as their first choice. And all of them passed for Scarborough Sec. All. Now, mind you, when you watch the girls' grades, some of them grades was 90, some of them grades was 88, some was 85. And those were grades that send them to the higher school, which is Bishop's High School in Tobago. And it's only because they chose to go to a school of their choice, which they put as their first choice, they went there. Right? But I'll still implement that. Sometimes when you all come back, you all can drop in an area, put up like a roster for you when you come back that, hey, I go and spend 15 minutes in my home school. I come from that school, I go and talk to them. I'll go and talk to them because these things are very integral. I know we as coaches, yes, we are here at the ground level. We are doing our best. Some of us are exposed to more technical parts of the game, technical concepts, courses, and all this sort of stuff that you all may be able to open it because they are hearing the same thing over and over from us. Yeah. One level, right? Hearing it from a higher grade, from someone who has more wider span of the whole topic on football. They would understand it and see it on a different perspective than how they would normally see it.
Okay, so let me interject here.
Right. I must give you all course once again. Yeah.
So it all goes back to what Lemuel was saying is like the responsibility falls on the coach as well to do their research, to understand. You're saying it's like the athlete's job to come into the schools, but the coaches, the administrators in the school, or the teachers, the principal. I remember having my principal in Form 6. He was very much into sports, so he made it his duty to have Jane Phillips and the other cyclists come in to talk. Like, a lot of people just came in, they talked, they inspired us, and yeah, he made it a priority. So it all goes back to the coaches as well, doing their research, getting the people involved, teachers, principals. Chrystalann? Wait, just now. Hold on, Chrystalann?
Hello?
Yeah, nice. We're hearing you.
Cool.
Yeah, Tisha. Just now, Chrystalann.
Let me just add to what you were saying in terms of the schools. Not all schools are committed to the sporting aspect.
Yeah.
Some schools are solely academics, and whatever happens in the sport happens in the sport. Mm-hmm. I went to Holy Faith Convent secondary school, and I played football from Form 1 to Form 5. That's where the football ended. You had to have persons outside the school pushing for persons to play the football, because the academic was of most importance at Holy Faith Convent. They didn't want to hear scholarship because they're playing football. They want to hear academics. They want to hear A's.
Yeah.
So as a player, you coming back to the school, because I went back to the school multiple times. Mm-hmm. And I spoke to, Miss Lake. She was one of the persons who were very adamant about the sport. Coming back to help coach. That was before I started to work. Coming back to help coach, showing my qualification, giving them a prospectus, plans, everything. They hear no. Because why? Academics is important.
Important, yeah.
And the sport will come after.
That's very true.
So not all schools will be like Scarborough Sec. They're lucky to have you.
Yeah,
they're lucky to have that balance in terms of academics and sport. But not all schools are like that. And if you are someone who is very smart, and you pass for a secondary school like Convent, but you're also very versed in the football, in the cricket, in the track, and they don't care for that as much as you do, you're going to have to find it somewhere else. So going back to the schools is not always key. And as a player, you coming back, you have gained all this knowledge. Well, I never went away, but you gain all this knowledge, and you want to give back, and you put yourself out there, and you let persons know, yes, I'm willing to work with you to help the youths in these clubs, and so forth. Sometimes you get turned down because you're too young. That's a main aspect. You're too young. I'm 25 years old and I've been coaching since I was 15. I'm always too young to coach.
Yeah.
But I
went to school. This is my logo here, San Fernando government, and recently changed to San Fernando Central. And I went there for 5 years, Form 1 to Form 5. And this principal came in from Asia, and she was like, no sports. So guess what Prudence did? Prudence left because Prudence cannot survive without sports. How could a principal come into the school and say no sports? So it all goes back to the teachers, the principals, and people who are actually passionate about sports.
That's it.
And not
well, I
all
have
students.
The same school that I had. I had the girls them come in there. I used to go in the school. Principal put down she foot because she find the school was not doing good in the exams and whatnot. They stopped the football. They stopped all sports.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they said no football during school time, nothing whatsoever. You can't pick up the train to go and train because you had it with schools, you had to do it during the school period. Especially for primary schools. You had to do it during the school time. You're not allowing primary school children after school to do XYZ, whatnot and whatnot. So I decided, I said, okay, I form my club. I pull the parents aside one week. I said, okay, I have opening a club and bring a children to train after school hours. Because after school, when they leave school, the school is not in charge of them. I said, you all are in charge of them. And that's how these girls have been training, especially when Prudence, you know that.
Yeah.
It's 3 years, a hat trick. These girls have won 3 different leagues. All the 3 different leagues in each year, they swept it. 3 years straight. And that school never supported those girls. I mean, the name getting blast across the news, everything and whatnot and whatnot. But the school is not for the sports.
Yeah.
It's not for the sports.
Tisha,
right? So sometimes you just have to choose and like what you said, go a different route. You left. I open a club in which I went and started to do something different. Because I really love the coaching, bringing it. When you see you can start a child from nothing, you get a girl who can't kick a ball, the girl can't even run properly. When she runs, she trip in the van fall down. And you training she and bring she to something that when you see she's scoring goals, some nice volleys and thing and this kind of stuff. It does marvel.
Yeah.
Bringing a child from nothing as a coach. At least that's the feeling I just get as a coach. Anytime I go to train somebody, I put your all into them. And not one person, the whole team.
Yeah.
You look to bring up the team as one. Right? So, go ahead.
Thanks, Don.
Yeah.
Like, just going based on what you're saying, Don. The couple times that I've come back to Trinidad from England, I've always gone back to CIC to help them. And because the coaches knew me from before, because most of the players knew me from before, they were really very receptive, I'd say. And in speaking to some of the coaches, they noted exactly what you said about the players being a little more receptive, listening a little more to me, who was just there for a couple of weeks, as opposed to them who coach them week in, week out. So I agree with the point that you're making in terms of giving back and the players being a little more receptive to people who've been abroad, because it goes back to one of the points I was making earlier. Anything abroad, it's just a mentality that us as Trinidadians have. Anything abroad is better. So yeah, and I fully agree with that point.
Back to Chrystalann.
Hey, so I've been having some audio problems. So what's the topic now?
We just went off on a rant about how we as athletes receive people who went abroad and came back. Yeah. Don't worry. You could continue answering your question. I think you were on your most rewarding moment.
Yeah. So I was basically saying academically, my challenge was juggling all the portfolios I was trying to play in 1 year, referee, player, and completing my masters. And at some point in time, it got so overwhelming that I thought I wanted to come home, and I wasn't capable of completing it. But it's important to have that support system or a support system. That avenue that I could call back home and get reassurance that you could push through this. You could do this. And I think that really helped me. And my most rewarding moment in that regard was like completing university, getting my masters, getting my certification in refereeing, and being voted the player's player now. With football, the greatest challenge was also making the decision to step away from professional football and focus on academics. I wasn't particularly happy with the environment in professional women's football in Trinidad, and I had to make that decision at a young age to reprioritize my goals and go after like a new goal in that regard, while still playing football, doing what I love.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Any other Colette? Any questions? Haywood?
No, I don't have no questions. I'm just listening.
All right, nice. Jabari?
Wait, what's that one? I don't have any questions at the moment.
Okay. Devon? Any questions? No?
Not right now.
All right, no problem.
One question.
So, yeah.
Sorry, I take so long to unmute. I am a coach and I have an athlete on right now, right? My main focus right now for the athletes that I am coaching is to get them geared on a pathway towards studying abroad. So I know that the athletes, the persons on the panel would have spoken about studying abroad and studying university here and their life after university. But can you give a little description of pre-university life, especially studying abroad, maybe having to do SATs or preparation towards going into university lifestyle, so that the athletes can get an idea of what the transition is like?
Hold up on the answers guys. That's actually one of the questions. Yeah. But I want to leave that
in my
for last or lower down. Devon, could you mute yourself, please?
Sorry.
So yeah, you all would answer that question last, so the guys could take some notes, right?
Yeah.
So on to the next question. Whenever you started to feel overwhelmed or stressed, what did you do to refocus other than playing sports?
For me, when I was stressed, my brother went to Howard as well, so I would go just hang out with my brother. Howard has a really big Caribbean community. This place in Washington, D.C., and there's a big Caribbean community there. So I could go and get roti, I could go and get food I could get that I would eat in Trinidad.
Struggles.
Sometimes I go to like some soca parties just to clear my mind. I mostly just hang out with friends from the Caribbean. People from the Caribbean, I should say.
Yeah. Okay. Tish?
When I'm stressed, apart from the football, music was one of my go-to. I would listen to music, stay alone in my room because I lived on campus, so I wasn't home. I didn't have the luxury of coming home and talking to my mom. But as I said, I lived on hall, so coming out of that room, you always had somebody to talk to. And you would realize when you come outside, somebody always had the same problem you have.
Yeah.
It might not be the same degree, but they had the same problem. So you sit down and you just talk, and that whole talk will lead to something that's so irrelevant that you forget about what you were worrying about. And by the time you finish the conversation, it turned from you and A to you and the whole alphabet, because it's just, conversation was good, and you just relieve a little bit of steam, and then you go back to it.
Yeah.
I never really had the problem of where I was so stressed, I felt like giving up and so forth like that, because I'm very steadfast in terms of completing things that I set my mind to. So if I'm doing something, no matter how hard it may be, I would like to complete it, especially in the time that I was allotted.
Yeah.
So even if there wasn't any football, it might be more difficult in terms of the academics. As I said, without the football, I used to struggle a lot with that.
Yeah.
But the music and living on hold with so many people, it helped. It helped. You always had somebody to laugh with.
Mm-hmm.
So that was me.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. Chrystalann? Chrystalann?
Yeah, hello?
Yeah. You eating?
Nah, it's just my internet giving her all trouble here.
Okay.
It struggles. Yeah.
What's
the question? Sorry.
Whenever you started to feel overwhelmed or stressed, what did you do to refocus other than playing sports?
Yeah. Friends and family, right? As I said, yeah, having that support system was important. When I was abroad, I made a lot of friends. Often when I was feeling stressed, I'll go out, have a drink with them, or I'll call my mom, call back home, get some words of inspiration and stuff. And yeah, just rely on that support system more or less.
Okay.
And also faith. Prayer, faith in God. That's also important, but that got me through a lot of difficult times, and I feeling to give up on things sometimes.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Raheem?
For me, just having conversations with whoever I thought might be the best person to speak to, whether it be family, friends, coaches, classmates. That's how I got through most of. I don't really think I feel stressed, but if I ever did, that was my avenue to relieve that stress, I guess.
Okay. Okay. This is for any one of you. Do you think athletes? So Lidon was talking about this. Do you think athletes should have sports psychologists? And yeah, how important it is for athletes to have a psychologist?
That is extremely important. You'll meet some coaches that they don't show interest in each player, right? They just train the team and they just leave. Some coaches would find out, did you eat today, what is going on in your life, because the more you understand about a player, I think you could get the best out of them if you understand their situation. So I agree with a sports psychologist.
Okay.
Especially as I mean, the world is advancing, and locally we will have to advance as well. We can't stay where we are currently and expect to compete or expect the best for the upcoming generation and future generations as well. So out here, sports psychologists is something that you see pretty often, and I think in time, the sooner the better, of course, but in time we should try to implement as many as possible in the local sport.
I think some of the Dub Connection, the youth program. I went through the ranks of Dub Connection youth program. We had a psychologist from under 14, and I left at under 17, and we still had it. So the guys at the above me, they were Kenwin Jones, John Michael Williams, Roger Anthony, late Roger Anthony, and they had a psychologist as well. So I think, again, the grassroots programs would set the tone for senior teams. This is at any sport.
The thing is, when you look at the Pro League in Trinidad, you look at the clubs and the little bit of history in it, W Connection is the model club in Trinidad. So, like you look at most of the other teams, the teams like Sawa, Jablote, Club Sando, a lot of these community-like teams. I think these teams have a greater reach within the community. So these types of teams should also, I think it should be more important for them actually, as opposed to like a team like W Connection, Central FC, who don't really have a community that they directly are involved in, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Buddy and Lem. I would say that in terms of the psychologists, there are always different strands. So for the youths, psychologists should more deal with empathy when it comes to the kids, because you don't know what's going on in the household. They come out and they are happy to be out there, but when they leave that field and they go back to their respective homes, you don't know what's going on. So empathy is very important as youths for grassroots coming up until probably, let's say, probably 15, 16, because as a psychologist, tapping into a 12-year-old cognitive senses is going to be very difficult. So it all comes down to the age and how strongly you should implement this psychology in the sporting world. Because I've experienced some bits and pieces of psychology as a player, and it doesn't work for everyone. Just like sport isn't for everybody, and not everyone can play football. Some people could run, some people could play basketball. So it's all about knowing the player as a psychologist. And in Trinidad and Tobago, there isn't any sports psychology per se, specifically. There is psychology, but not sports psychology. So that's where the outsource comes in as well, and being able to find that opportunity outside of Trinidad and Tobago.
Okay. Thanks. So we are going into information on scholarships and how you all went about basically getting through. So I think Lem, you were starting to talk about this.
Well, I left St. Banks College and my family migrated to the US. So I did my SATs when I got to the US, and I just was just playing around a couple minor leagues, and a coach saw me from Howard University. So Howard University, they were interested in me. York College, that was in New York. Salem International University, that's in Virginia. And Villanova, that's in Philadelphia. So I did my SATs, and whichever one gave me the best offer, I took it. In terms of players getting scholarships through Trinidad, that doesn't have the opportunity like what I had. There's a lot of scouting games. So me and my friend, we do a lot of scouting games. We bring coaches down to Trinidad. We invite players. Some coaches, they charge a fee. And you just play for like a weekend. And if you're good enough, the coaches pick you. It's not only about your talent. You have to have subjects, because you can't play if your GPA doesn't meet a certain standard. So some players, after their first year, it's a clean slate, you could play, but you have to keep your academics up in order to play. There's a lot of help when you get to university. There's study halls, there's teachers who are willing to help you if you're struggling academically. So for a player in Trinidad, right, your SATs, it's easy now because the games are showed on Flow Sports or whatever channel they show it on. So coaches could just look at the games over and evaluate you there. When I did it, so you had to make a tape, get the footage from the media stations, and then send it. So it's a lot easier now for the kids in secondary school right now.
Okay. Lemuel said you and somebody would usually organize coaches to come in. Is it under an organized agency, or this is just something you do randomly throughout the year?
Well, we try to do it to get them in, because you could get into school during the spring semester, which is in January, or the fall semester, which starts in August. But we try to get it through the fall semester.
Okay, and how could they get information on this or notification? Because we had a couple lives the other day, and people were talking about they just don't know about these things, these showcases.
Yeah, so the TTFA, they have they post it on their website sometimes. It's in the newspaper sometimes. The last one I was supposed to have was March 22nd and 23rd. The coach he had 3.5 full scholarships. But due to the pandemic, we had to cancel it. But I knew a couple of players, Jabari Gray, Joval Roberts, a couple other players, they got through just a coach looking at the games over online.
Okay, but these are players that have a little national experience, right?
Yeah, but even self, so it doesn't matter if you have national experience. So once you hear about it, or your coach hears about it, they could just, if the coach thinks, this player has the quality to make it at this level, they could you invite them. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Even so, if your coach doesn't think so, you could just go on your own and talk to the organizers and try and be seen.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So we on to the Nika.
And before that goes for both university and at the professional level.
Okay. I hope Anika with that. I have some additional information as well. You could actually go on Google and search for scholarships. There are a lot of colleges that give scholarships for international students. I'll probably put it in the chat. And I'd also advise athletes, for the athletes who are on right now, you need to understand that you yourself are a brand, so you need to carry about yourself professionally. You need to build your profile. you need to fight for yourself. If you know you can't get video footage from a media house, find somebody who could videotape you during your games. There's something called LinkedIn. Well, Lemuel, you would know about this, and probably the other working people. Build a profile, add your accomplishments, reach out to people, network. It's all about doing it for yourself. You are your brand, you represent yourself. Don't really depend on anybody to do it for you. I mean, if you could find an agent, that's fine. But yeah, try to do it on your own. So my advice would be doing your Google research, finding the international scholarships, and building your LinkedIn profile. There's also something called, they have like essay contests where you could actually write essays and win scholarships. I was reading an article today, and they said our generation is very lazy. We don't like writing, we don't like reading. So the likelihood of people actually applying for these scholarships is very low. So for the athletes who are on right now, I would suggest you just do your research, market yourself, and if you really want it, work hard to get it.
In terms of what you said in terms of your branding, right?
Mm-hmm.
This goes for the athletes that are on now. Anything you post on social media, everyone could see.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's very, very important in terms of getting a scholarship. So let's say Duke, which is they have a really good academic and athletic program. You are the most talented player in Trinidad, but you posting about guns or stuff that is not benefiting you in any type of way, right? Mm-hmm. They are not going to take you for a scholarship because it's just not only about talent. Talent only gets you so far, right? So be careful what you post on social media, and as you said before, you are your brand.
Thanks, Lam. So go into this question one time. So some of you were role models or even are role models still. I don't know if you are aware of this, but what are some of the decisions you consciously made to structure or develop behaviors, personal qualities, and specific achievements? So Lem was talking about, he continued on my points of you are a brand. What are the conscious decisions you made to contribute towards your role model?
The way I speak, the way I care about myself, the way I dress. I coach an academy, so kids are like sponges. They look at everything you do. Mm-hmm. They listen to everything you say. So yeah, just the way I speak, the way I care about myself. It's not only on the football field, but if they see me anywhere, if my players see me anywhere, they would know that I'm being professional in whatever I do.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else, Tish?
I agree with Lam. In addition to that, you have to make that big sacrifice on learning to weed out good and bad out of people. Because some persons, they just don't want to see you succeed. No matter how good you may be, friends, family. Mm-hmm. You have to, from the early, see who are for you and who are not for you. Even if it means that you may have to go down that successful road alone. Yeah. Along the way, you're going to find people who have that same drive and want to meet that same goal as you. Mm-hmm. So, yes, you're having your fun, and what they say to you may sound like fun now, mm-hmm. but trust me, when you get older, mm-hmm. it wouldn't be. So, from young, just learn to
Fine.
accept people, and you don't always have to cut them out, because some friends, even though they may be negative, you can still keep them around, try to bring them up to you, try to build them. You don't have to follow them, you can still be friends with them, but know what you're about.
Yeah.
Always have that drive for yourself. And yeah, as Lem said, the way you carry about yourself in public, the way you dress, the way you speak, that doesn't mean you're going to be this all high and mighty 24/7. Yeah, you're going to have your moments with your peoples, but make sure that everyone sees that you are serious about what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Tish. Raheem?
Well, a lot of people don't know my real name, so I would say me, by being Birdie, is my brand, and I've always tried to carry about myself in a professional manner, even out here, because I'm not just representing myself, but I represent my country. That's how I see it over here, because I'll be playing and they'll refer to me as the Trini. And at the end of the day, I don't want it that if by some chance another Trinidadian comes to the team, I don't want it to be that, oh, this Trinidadian that we had before wasn't disciplined or anything like that. So we definitely don't want another. It's about helping others, making it easier for them. In terms of the role model, when you realize that you're a role model to younger people, sometimes it just hits you. It happened for me in secondary school. After that first year of football, I was a very friendly guy, so I'd speak with a lot of people, and I think going into the second year that I've played football for CIC, that's when I realized that, okay, people are looking up to me, so I have to start carrying about myself a bit more disciplined, a bit more professionally, and that's why I got the professional mindset. So yeah, that's it really.
I just want to piggyback off what you said, Buddy. You said you're representing Trinidad, right?
Yeah.
For the athletes in here, that goes a really long way. So how it is, let's say, University of South Carolina. One Trini went there and he was extremely talented, and he represented Trinidad well in his school. That same university is going to go back to Trinidad looking for a player.
Yeah.
Because the previous player, he did an exceptional job. So Howard University, University of South Florida, University of Central Florida, North Carolina, there are specific universities where they have a lot of trainees that passed through that did an exceptional job. So they're always looking for Trinidadian players. Not only at the college level. When I went to my trial in Germany, there was a Trini guy that went before me, and he did absolutely the worst. So when I went to my trial, it's like, I'm nervous because like they're expecting another Trini just to, he's not serious. He just come here for just to see him on a trial, right?
Yeah.
So there's additional pressure on you when somebody that goes before you doesn't do well.
And
right?
on the flip side of that, I went on trial at Wrexham, and Wrexham had a rich history of Trinidadians, and
Carlos Edwards,
Dennis Lawrence, Jason Scotland, and I was just on trial there, and the Wrexham fans, they had a fan board, and the fans were excited that another Trinidadian was just training with the team. So, and that's because of the good work that the guys who went before me have done. So, that's just the flip side to that exact point that you're making there.
Yeah, because the player who sent me was a player in the World Cup, Evans Wise. He played in Germany for about 10 years.
Yeah, I remember Evans Wise.
So for those of you who don't know, Evans Wise is one of the most skillful left footers that ever passed through Trinidad and Tobago. When they found out I was Evans' player, I didn't pay for any of my meals in any restaurants, and they treated me like royalty, just based on what he did in his playing career in Germany. You know, so wherever you go, do your best, because you're opening another window for somebody behind you.
Chrystalann? Or Sheila?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we way over time. Last question. Having gone through the process of playing sports and going to school, is there any additional advice you'd give students who will be trying to balance school and work, or school and playing the sport? Yeah.
For me, you have to have a balance in everything you do in life. You're not going to play football all years of your life. Growing up, I didn't like school, so I know there's a lot of athletes who don't like the academic aspect. But my mother told me, if you break your leg, what are you going to do? And that's something that was
stuck with you.
Yeah, it was stuck with me, because like in Europe, at 32, you're considered extremely old.
Yeah.
Right? In the Caribbean, we tend to start late in football. So you need to have something to fall back on, which is academics. Doesn't have to be best engineer. You could have academics and coaching, right? So you come back on whatever knowledge you gain from football. If you stop playing, you could come and give back to the community, or give others experience that you've been through that could help them.
Tish?
In addition to them, having a good support system, that's very important, because you need somebody to push you when you are not able to push yourself. Always remember to network yourself, as everyone was saying, you are your own brand. So network yourself. Don't be afraid to put that foot out there and be like, yeah, I want to try. You might get some rejections, you might get some no, but you're going to have that one person that's going to say yes, and they're going to change your world. So always have a positive mindset. For me, it's just being positive and always know that it always has something better. All this work is going to be for something and not for nothing. And as Lem said, football isn't everything. Yes, it may be a love. It is mine. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to retire. And you're going to have to support that family that you may want. And saying, I played football when I was 15 is not going to pay the bills. So you have that balance, have that education, that stable job. It may not be the job of your dreams from the get-go, but it will come. Everything comes in time.
Thanks, Tish. Lem?
No, I answered already.
No. Other than working at a sport company, do you have any other business or businesses?
I do have a music publishing company. I write music, I distribute music. Very few people know this.
So wait, the link that's on your Instagram profile, does your you have them produce that, or
the link?
Yeah, there's
Which
a link on your Instagram. Okay, never mind. You were promoting a video recently on YouTube.
Yeah. So I distribute from one of my friends. He did a song with Tory Lanez. So I'm just helping him do some distribution.
That's nice.
Okay. Okay. Tisha.
Well, for them.
Raheem.
Quarantine radio.
Yeah.
Quarantine.
Yes.
Somebody asked you a question as well, Raheem, so you could answer the question that I asked. Do you want me to repeat it?
Yeah, sure.
Having gone through the process of playing sports and doing school, is there any additional advice you'd give to students who will be trying to balance school and work or school and playing a sport?
I mean, my friends, anyone who speaks to me, they're probably fed up of hearing this from me, but I'm of the strong belief that your mind is the strongest thing that you possess. Working with Coach Bato, I'm sure every one of us here probably would have heard of Bato in one way or the other, but he always mentioned bad mind. And as you go along, you'll realize that, yeah, the physical aspects could do so much, but your mental is really what gets you over the line sometimes, whether it's studying. As I think Chrystalann was saying earlier, she doesn't set a time frame to what she was studying. But if she is like, oh, I'm really tired, and then in her mind, she's like, all right, no, but I have to get this before I go to sleep or something like that. That little extra push would help anyone really in terms of finding that right balance between whatever they're doing, and even in the, well, obviously the sports side as well. Your mind in terms of just getting over the line, develop a winning mentality in every aspect of life, and you'll win at life. So all these things, I think, I'm a strong believer of the mind and the power that the mind has. So I would say try to develop your mind, strengthen your mind, and stay focused.
Thanks, Raheem. Chrystalann?
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah. We're still on the last question.
Yeah.
So it's actually your turn now. Raheem, don't forget to answer the question in the chat, right?
Question is that?
You can read it at the time. I think somebody.
Yeah, the last question is what through? I just reconnected.
Having gone through the process of playing sports and going to school, is there any additional advice you'd give students who will be trying to balance school and work or school and playing in sports?
Okay. Well, first things first, you need to have a vision, set out a vision for yourself, and understand what it takes to achieve it. And you also have to come to the realization that obstacles are almost inevitable. So prepare to deal with obstacles one time. Have that mindset that there will be hurdles that come, but I'm going to overcome it whenever they reach. And I probably just want to leave off with a saying, basically, success happens when opportunity meets preparation. So with that being said, just make sure that you're prepared to do whatever it takes to achieve your goals.
Oh, the question just came through, by the way.
No, I think he posted it again.
Okay.
Yeah. What are the prospects of you playing at a higher level of English football, and how difficult is it to get to those higher levels?
Okay, so as I mentioned, I play currently in the 7th division of English football, and the trials that I've had, I've always heard the same thing. I'm too short. So the most recent trial that I had, I was at Barnet FC. They had a 17-year-old goalkeeper, or 18. He was from Latvia, 6'7". Then there was me, who's just about 6 foot. And they took him, despite him not being as good as I was, as they said, but it was on aesthetic value. And at the end of the day, the first keeper got injured. That guy didn't play for the season because he wasn't good enough. So I understand that for me personally, there will be some physical limitations that will potentially keep me back. But there's been opportunities for me at the end of last season, because I ended last season really strongly. There's been opportunities for me to go into the conference stages. So that's 2 divisions higher. But unfortunately, because of my work situation at that point in time, I could not leave the club that I was with to go there. In England, I'm a goalkeeper. In England, there are eyes everywhere. First time I came here 8 years ago, I was just sweating in a park, really. And a semi-pro team drafted me in to play central midfield for them. And I'm not the greatest midfielder. I'm not anywhere as good as Tisha in the midfield, but there's so many eyes in a place like England, and I figure it will be that way. I think Lemuel said something along the same lines, that he was just playing, and some coaches saw him and decided that they were interested in him. So the prospect of me playing at a higher level, I'd say, is high, especially playing competitive football here. Clubs are always looking for players, and it's...
Good night, guys.
Good night. Yeah, clubs are always looking for players, and despite the physical limitations that are set, I still think that I still have a lot to give, and with my knowledge and professionalism, I think it's possible for me to play at a higher level, potentially League 2.
Just to piggyback off what you said, right? So the question. My experience in my trials, so VFR Mannheim, they were Bundesliga 4. Germany has 9 divisions of 9 levels of football.
Okay.
Trinidadians, we always have the skill set. But in terms of technique, European players they stand out more than us. That's what I think. So if you tell a Trinidadian player to, let's say, dribble these 2 guys, that's something we could do in our sleep. But you tell a Trinidadian, I want you to make a lofted pass, a 40-yard lofted pass with some backspin on it.
Yeah.
Trinidad is going to do it about 2-3 times out of 10, as opposed to the European player doing it 5-6 times, right?
Yeah.
They are more physical than us. They play a lot faster than us. So when I went there, my agent at the time, he told me what to expect, and everything he told me to expect happened.
Yeah.
In Germany, they try to intimidate you. They just run and try to just, lick you off the ball, tackle you really hard. I'm 6'3", so that is something I welcome, right?
Yeah.
So the first defender, the captain, he tackled me really hard. I just gave him a stiff arm. He just fell down. After that, he never tackled me again. He tackled me, but just not in the manner he did before. So I took out the intimidation factor.
Yeah.
They play really fast. It's not about I could dribble 4 guys and whatever. It's about they play a lot of team football in Europe. Trinidad is to me, secondary school football is stifling to an extent, because coaches, they hype you up, you're the player in Trinidad and Tobago, and then after that, there's a lot of I was the best in secondary school football. Then after that, you've never heard about the player afterwards. So I think, we have to change the mindset of some of the players, tell them what they should expect. So there's a lot of players that would, think I want to go to play in, I want to play in Bundesliga or the Premier League.
Yeah.
It's extremely difficult one, and in terms of paperwork, right?
Yeah.
So if you don't have a US passport, you could only go to Division 1 or 2 in Germany, right? Which is extremely difficult. Those are the best guys.
Yeah.
You can't go to Division 3 below, right? So some of the coaches, they were like, yeah, you're good enough to play in Germany. You're good enough to a certain level.
Yeah.
In terms of preparation for college and professional level, it is extremely hard. There's a lot of running. My first game I played, the coach told me to just, put on my running shoes. I was like, well, coach, we're going to play. He's like, no, the first team is going to play and you guys are going to run for 45 minutes. It's cold. I've on 2 jackets, 2 pants, I've on gloves, I've on a beanie to cover my head, and I'm running for 45 minutes while the first team is playing. After the first half is over, calls everybody in, you change their boots, and then you go play. That was a experience for me because I never did it before, right? I was really fit when I came back from Germany. Like, there's nothing a coach could give me in Trinidad that could affect me. At the college level, the same thing. There's a lot of running. Everything is specific. So the coaches will give you like a specific time. You have to run a mile in. We had to do it in a mile in 6 minutes, 2 miles in 12 minutes, 3 miles in 18 minutes. And we did all these tests in one day. One day we did it, then do 3 times a week, max. So the athletes, they have to prepare themselves for a lot of hard training. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything and tell you it's easy. It's not. So mentally, you have to be strong. Physically, you have to be strong. You're going to meet a lot of players that not skillful as you, but they're a lot fitter than you, they're a lot stronger than you, and they're not going to stop.
And as you mentioned about playing in Germany, I know England is one of the most attractive places that young people in Trinidad aim to play in. I'm not sure if it's changed now. Luckily for me, I have a British passport, but I know that for a player to play in England, they had to meet certain criteria in terms of caps for your country, and there a work permit, which is not the easiest thing to attain, and there was some other thing. And for me, I'm a British citizen, and I still had paperwork that had to be sent to TTFA. I think I contacted Tisha for that as well. That had to be sent to TTFA and I'm playing 7th division in English football. And that took me about 5 to 6 weeks for something that could have been done in 3 days, if so much. So there's so many external factors outside of you being physically fit, you being very technical, you being able to keep up with the speed of the game, all these things. And so I don't want to give any wrong information, but it's good to do your research on the places that you aspire to play in, the boundaries and limitations that are set coming from Trinidad to play in certain countries.
Yeah, I have a US passport as well, so I was able to go to a 4th division. That's why I got through it.
Okay. Thanks, guys. We actually have like 2 more minutes. I really didn't want to go over 1 hour. So thank you to the panel, Tisha, Raheem, Chrystalann, Lemuel. You all are free to leave whenever, but I just want to allow maybe 2 minutes or so, if anyone have any other questions. But you all are free to go. Raheem, I know it's way
3 a.m.
Didon, Colette, Nika, Jabari.
I don't have any questions. What I have to say is that there's a lot of work that we have to do as Trinidadians or Trinidad and Tobagonians to reach that standard. And right now, with everything going on with corruption and stuff, within the sporting industry, it's kind of hard to develop certain things or get certain things done. You understand? So, I think right now it's just about trying to keep the athletes mentally and physically fit. So whatever opportunities come to them, they will be able to grasp it and, hold it with tight arms. So that's all I have to say. But I really like this, and I think that it should be done more often. Getting players from, with full experience, to a lot more young persons should be here as well. Hearing the experience that can motivate them in many ways. You understand? So I think we should do this more often. Try to reach it out as much as possible. Get a lot of people. I don't know how much people could be on the Zoom at the same time, but as much as we can get.
A lot could be on, but I was trying to limit this one because I know these are working people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have to be up at a certain time.
Right.
So people would be asking.
Well, it's a really good thing. I like it.
All right, tomorrow's Sunday. Yeah, what day it is? Yeah. Thanks, Colette.
No problem.
Anybody else?
You muted, Coach Harewood, if you were saying something.
I was telling myself I catch my tail. I'm feeling like an old person trying to operate these things. I really enjoyed this. I honestly wish that I would have had more athletes online to expose them to the talk, but I'm looking forward to Prudence having another one, so
really?
yeah, so that more athletes can get involved. I mean, I myself, football is my love. I've been playing football since primary school, and I guess coaching was just in the cards to me because my father was a coach and my grandfather was a coach. And as sometimes, just as it was said before, you talking as a coach to your athletes, they don't get it. They have to hear it from somebody else. So as excited as I might be and bubbly and want to share all of my experiences, it's good to hear from other people. It's good for the athlete to see someone, a fresh face and probably a different perspective. So as I said before, I really enjoyed this. And I am looking forward to another one. Hopefully, I can have more athletes online to benefit from what is being discussed.
Thanks, Nika. I think Zoom would allow like over
about 100. Yeah, it depends on the nature of the meeting.
Yeah.
The larger it is, I think they allot a time or something like that.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd look into it. Any other questions? You done? You good? You're muted.
Yes, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
Thanks again to everyone.
Yeah,
The
no problem.
panel, keep striving, keep punching to the sky. The sky is the limit.
Okay, guys. Going once, going twice. Okay, I'm very sleepy. Yes, guys. Thanks again to the panel and to the coaches who attended, to the athletes who were here and who are here still. Thank you. I hope you all made a note. And yeah, hopefully I'd probably have one of this sometime again, right? So yeah. Thanks again.
Sorry, Prudence. I know you'll have another one.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm leaving, guys. Y'all could stay if you want.
One thing before you go, how would you begin the recording?
I think I don't know.
It can't be sent via email because it would be too large.
I could try WhatsApp, but the thing about it, when do I have to save it before I come out?
I think it would save.
It automatically saves, and you could listen to it over. I don't know what kind of laptop you have, so it depends.
I don't even know what kind of laptop I have myself, but we'll leave it as that. Okay,
just make sure it's saved. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Bye.
All right.
Yeah, man.
Take care. Bye, everyone.